So this is Renee Hobbs. I am here with the amazing students of COM 250, Digital and Media Literacy, and this is our optional video chat. You know, it's really interesting how I've been teaching online for a long time, and the University of Rhode Island really does not like to do synchronous video things like this. I think they're amazing, and in my world they would be like required, because like just like you have to show up to a regular class at a certain time, why couldn't you take an online class that you had to show up at a certain time? But University of Rhode Island says this has to be a voluntary optional thing. So thank God for Tony and Megan, who are actually here with me, but some of you guys are watching this recording, so that's okay too. Now, one thing that's really cool, Tony and Megan, have you ever used Zoom before?
I have not.
No, okay, so there's something kind of cool. If you roll your cursor up to the top, like, I don't know if that's this side or that side where you are, where it says gallery view, you can make it look like the Brady Bunch. Well, there's just 3 of us, so it's not gonna look like the Brady Bunch, you know, with all the little squares. But there's one way you can see it where you can see all of us. And if you click it again, then you can see who's ever speaking basically is the big video. And so you can actually just, you're in charge of that, you know, not me. So you can adjust your view as you go. I'm making it now so we can see all 3 of us, because that will make it a more fun video to record. And
I'm actually on my phone, so
you are actually, because Zoom is so wonderful. It has an app, right?
Yeah, I had to download the app, but like my computer does not like audio whatsoever. So I just jumped on my phone. I don't see any buttons, but it's fine. I can,
okay, cool. But here you are using your phone. That explains why you're vertical, and Megan and I are
it's my
horizontal.
I understand that now.
That's so cool. Okay, so you know, you guys, I bet you did not know that I am teaching digital and media literacy, this class, for the very first time. When I arrived at University of Rhode Island, I proposed this class in I don't know, whatever, 2014, I guess. And finally it went through the approval process, and now, you know, I get to teach it, and I'm really happy to give it a trial run. And I'm learning a lot from how you guys are reacting to different things. So I'm going to ask you to give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen that shows the Notion page. Beautiful, beautiful. So I've now just shared my screen with you. And part of the reason why I love the Zoom video conference so much is that, like, it's screencasting, right? So I thought I'd share with you what I'm hoping to accomplish today. I just go to the calendar of our Notion page. Oh, and just in case you want to follow along at home, I'm going to copy that. And why don't I see if I can paste it? Hold on a second. If I can see if I can paste it into the, oh, I don't know if that might be asking too much. I might not be able to do that. Let's see if I can paste it into the chat. So I'm going to chat with everyone, and there's the link to the page in the Notion. So if you want, you could open up a page and follow along, because you're going to get kind of a chance to do stuff in this session yourself. So did you see how you can scroll down to the bottom of the page and open up the chat room? And I don't know, Tony, how that works on the, so I'm not sure if that works at all.
To be completely honest, I don't either.
Yeah, so you don't have to mess with it. You'll just trust it, but it can actually, you scroll down, you'll see like a chat. It's like a yellow or orange button that will let you open up the link to this page. This is our Notion page, and this is probably a site that looks a little bit familiar to you. I put our agenda for today's call on the calendar. There we are, our optional Zoom video conference. I was thinking about these 3 things as kind of the sort of focus for, we just have 1 hour together, right? I wanted to give you guys some feedback on what I'm noticing about your performance and participation. on the Pathright, on the Flipgrid, and on the Twitter. Then I thought it would be good for us to kind of talk about, like, what are we getting out of this course, and what's working for you and what's not working for you, right? So both at the level of like the ideas of the class, right, in terms of the readings and the videos and the activities, and the whole online thing, right? So we'll talk about that, just the three of us. And then of course the main point of this class is really to do a deep dive on Leap 1, in terms of all the things you need to do to be successful in that, and then hopefully we'll have time for some questions. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about feedback. So one of the things that's, okay, yes, I will sign in. One of the things that's ever so annoying about, all the platforms is all the sign-ins, right? But I am actually really enjoying getting to know you through your through the work that you're doing on the Pathright. And just so you know how I am responding to you in kind of different ways. In general, I am, well, when we read the chapter 6 and we annotated the document, I hope got a chance to go back. Oops. I hope you got a chance to go back and take a look at my annotations, right? Because I was participating in a conversation just like you are. Hey, Sarah, thanks for joining us. I see that you've joined us on the Zoom, so thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, sorry, I couldn't get it to work, but I just figured it out.
You just figured it out because you're just that kind of person. You figure it out, right? So I'm happy to hear that. So you will always be able to sort of monitor your own performance on the Pathright by using the that button up there at the top that indicates your performance. And you can see you guys are all doing really well, right? So I see you, Megan, Tony, Sarah, you guys are all up there doing absolutely great work, right? By the end of the semester, you should have 400 points, and we're for week 4 in, so you guys are all super, super on track. I feel like the thing that I like best about the Pathright is it's not ugly, right? So I just really don't like learning management systems that are ugly. I think this one is the least ugly of anything. And of course, you can see we've got some really cool topics coming up, right? We're working on who decides what makes media good right now. Then we're going to tackle how do media companies make money? Why does McDonald's advertise? Why are Facebook and Instagram free? How do search engine works? How do people get their news? Who can I trust? Is my little brother addicted? How do you get to be media literate? Is media empowering and controlling people? In some ways, this is the big question for the whole course, isn't it? So we're going to be talking about that all semester long. So I'm pretty pleased with how you're managing through the Pathright. And I have to tell you, I so much enjoyed getting to know you on the Flipgrid this week. And I just want to point out one thing. I think, give me a thumbs up did you get an email from me that gave you some feedback on your Flipgrid? Yeah, good show. So if you didn't, that's a problem, right? That means I didn't see your Flipgrid or it wasn't here, right? So I really like the ability to give you feedback. And here's what I noticed is Tony and Megan, you guys were first, and you guys just did it all perfect because you did 2 things, right? You used the ideas that are part of chapter 6 to analyze a particular episode, and you responded to the work of a peer. And I can see that because of, well, I responded to some folks here, you can see, and some of you did too. But as somehow along the way, I think right after Sophie, we kind of fell off the map. And you can see Cassie got somebody to watch her video, but after Ian, it just disappeared. So if you're one of these folks here in the top row, meaning you completed your Flipgrid probably February 13th or probably February 14th, you still owe me a reply comment, because that warm feedback process of listening to somebody else's ideas and responding yourself is a big part of the learning experience. And what's fascinating about it is I changed the titles a little bit so you could kind of see what people were talking about. So you might want to go watch Isabel's as she analyzes The Office, right? Or Joe's really nice reflection on BoJack Horseman, right? Or Megan's reflection on Hidden Figures. So or Jason's really cool analysis of Parasite, right? So I put the names of the things they were talking about because I thought that might entice you to want to see more about them. Now you're just starting to participate in Twitter, because I think the first Twitter assignment is really, I think it's this week. Give me a thumbs up if you can see that Twitter page on the screen there. Yeah, you can. So you can see I'm just searching using the COM250 tag. I'm just going to Twitter and searching, and we've got a little bit of a conversation emerging. Joe's really dived in, and Joe's a YouTuber, content creator. So stuff is like breathing for Joe. And so I get that he's first with it. But Lauren shared a link, which is an extra credit part of this week's activity for COM250. And in general, I'm offering you guys feedback on Twitter. Like for instance, when I looked at your, after you read chapter 1 of Create to Learn, I asked you to fill out a little form about your identity as a digital author. And I took all the data from that and I put it into a word cloud. And I was like, it's really interesting what patterns emerge. There's 30 kids in this class, and they like to learn. They're imaginative, they're creative, they're tenacious, right? So I just thought that was really cool. So I am along the way making comments about this class, and it looks like other people are too, right? So isn't that cool? So it does turn out that not everybody, like back in the day, somebody else was taking a class called COM250 back in 2011, right? So you got to be smart about this. I use the latest tab, right? That keeps me, these are the tweets that have been shared really in the last few months. And you can see, I even shared my heat map. When you guys did, I'm doing the activities along with you, right? I shared my heat map a little bit about what was going on with my life and looking at my own, how web historian worked for me, kind of looking at my own data to reflect on that. And sometimes, of course, I want to underline, I use Twitter to underline a key point. So those of you who are tuned into getting a super duper grade on the midterm or final exam, I provide signals on my Twitter about what's important, right? So here's a big idea from Create to Learn. You might have read that chapter and figured that out all by yourself, right? But if you didn't, I provide a little helpful clue. This is a really big idea in that Create to Learn book. And so I signaled it with using a visual and yeah, so just saying, right? So I'm pretty pleased. I can't wait to see how you guys develop as you're doing your Twitter stuff. So I'm feeling overall pretty good about the quality of class participation that I'm seeing and the quality of learning. I'm really looking forward to how you do with Leap 1, this crazy activity, ordinary creativity. But since we're just a small group and there's only 4 of us here tonight, let's take some time and just talk over these 2 big questions. What are the big ahas of the class so far? And what are you liking and disliking about the online learning experience? So I don't have to share my screen anymore for those crazy questions, right? Because you kind of know what those questions are already. So what I'm going to do is just basically have you talk it through with me. What are you getting out of this class? What have been the big ahas so far? What are you liking and disliking about the online learning experience? Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Thanks.
So, I took an online class last semester and it was nothing like this. Basically we did have like required assignments, but there was no like person-to-person discussion or like, I feel like this class kind of forces you to stay on top of everything, and the class I took last semester really didn't. And so what I'm learning, because my last class too, it was Gender and Women's Studies 150. We analyzed a lot of media and stuff, but now in this class I'm learning like how and why I processed it the way I did. And so it's kind of interesting to see like where my thought processes were last semester and like where I'm growing now. So
cool. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So what big ahas are you getting so far? Hey, Joe DeLone, we were just talking about you.
Oh, really?
Thanks so much. We saw that we went to the Flipgrid. We saw that you did the BoJack Horseman, and
Okay.
I was saying that students who were interested might want to watch that. So we're glad you joined us. Thanks so much.
Oh, cool.
So just a little like call out on this. Up at the top, you can modify how you see us in Zoom by adjusting speaker view or gallery view. If you use gallery view, you see it like the Brady Bunch. So you can modify that. What we're doing right now is we're talking through these questions on the Notion.
Okay.
We're asking what have been the big ahas of the class so far, and what are you liking and disliking about the online learning experience? Megan, you kicked us off. Who wants to go next?
I can.
Thanks.
Yes. So I actually took the same gender and women's studies class last semester online, and then I took another online class before that, which was like a Greek myth class. And so far, all of them have been run differently. However, I do like the online format where I can just like do it myself and like just fill it in time because I work. I have like independent studies and all my like classes. It allows me to fit another class in where I don't have to physically be there and I can do it in my own time, which is great for me. And then like I'm a little iffy about the Twitter, not gonna lie. I'm not a Twitter person. I don't use Twitter. I have an account. My friend forced me to make it way back when. I don't know how to do anything, so that's gonna be definitely a huge bump in the road for me. But I don't think I really had like a huge aha moment quite yet because I've taken another comm class, so kind of like everything has been overviewed in that class. So mainly it's just me realizing things in my real life, like why do we have to advertise medication? Why is that a thing? Like that does not need to be a thing. Leave it to the medical professionals. But just like why companies do what they do to like get people to buy their products is mainly probably my biggest aha moment since beginning.
Thanks so much for sharing. Yeah, it's true that this first 3 weeks, we've really spent most of our time building connections between like what's going on with in our own lives, right? With how we use media. So I've really asked you to do a lot of reflection on noticing what you're paying attention to and what you like and what like almost like you're your own little guinea pig, right? And studying yourself when you study the media. So Tony, thanks for sharing. And I especially I want to echo a point that you said, which I totally agree with. I love to teach online because I maintain a really active travel schedule. I am probably 24 times a year giving speeches all over the world. Last week I was in California, and the week before that I was in Oman, Muscat, Oman, which is like south of Saudi Arabia. And next week I'm off to Chicago. And so for me, the ability to teach from anywhere and to be in a hotel room and still be connected to my students is absolutely invaluable. And that supports my work as, as an activist, because I am a media literacy activist. And part of that work involves going out and reaching out to audiences all over the country and all over the world. So that flexibility that you guys like, I like it too. So it works for both of us in a way. But there are downsides. For sure, right? There are downsides. Okay, so we're talking about these two crazy questions. What have been the big ahas of the class so far? And what are you liking and disliking about the online learning experience? Who wants to go next?
I can go.
Thanks.
I took a marketing class last semester, and a big problem that we talked about a lot was breaking barriers in the classroom of people like sticking to themselves or sticking to their groups. And I think I wasn't expecting to be able to like communicate with people that I didn't know. And so that was like kind of an extra bonus that I didn't think I was going to get from this class. And even though the videos I was really nervous at first because it's like awkward taping yourself and talking to yourself. But I think that by the end of the semester, that'll be like a big confidence builder that I wasn't expecting to get out of an online class. So that was, is something that'll be cool at the end of the semester. And I guess the only big aha moment I've had was from last week when it said that everybody can be creative, or that everybody is creative. It's just like, I don't know, I wrote about it in one of the reflections and just said how I feel like we all really label ourselves as, oh, I can't do this because I'm not creative, or I am a creative person, but like everybody is. So that was something that really has stuck with me all week, and I think is going to affect how I view things for like the rest of college, which was cool.
Oh, Sarah, thank you so much for sharing that. You know, I feel like schools and teachers do a big damage in setting up that idea about defining people as you are this, you are that. And it's really, when it comes to creativity, it's super destructive, right? So even like little third, fourth graders will say, I'm not creative. And it's like, well, you're 9 years old. Where did you get that idea? So I'm really glad that you're recognizing, creativity is a product of being human. And then I think that for me, the liberating idea of creativity is that it's combinatorial, and that it's not like you have to come up with a new thing. You just put together this thing with something else, and boom, the collision of ideas makes new ideas. And I feel like we're living in a world where there's so many things, there's so much creative work around us that it can be intimidating, right? And so it's much easier to think, okay, well, I can actually take this idea that I encountered in this place and take this idea I encountered in this place. And one of the things and put them together and get great things. And one of the great things is that this class has people from all different backgrounds and all different life experiences and all different majors, right? So in a way, some of that's going to happen just naturally. And the second leap will involve collaboration. So you're right, Sarah, that we're getting to know each other through the Flipgrid, because you're going to be partnering with one of those people and making some media with them, right? Which is terrifying and fun all at the same time. So thanks for sharing. Joe, what have been the big ahas of the class so far for you, and what are you liking and disliking about this way of online learning?
I don't know if there's anything that I really dislike right now, but I think that the one thing that I really like is the Pathwright platform. I've taken other online classes, and through Sakai. I hate Sakai. I don't know what anyone else thinks about that. It's so archaic and simple and like old-fashioned the way that it's set up. And when I clicked on the Sakai page at the beginning of the semester and said, we're going to use Pathwright, I'm like, oh, what is this? And when I started using it, I was like, wow, this is fluid. It follows a simple path. I know what's coming up next. I don't have to go fishing around and looking for things all over the page. I like the flow of it. I think that there should be more classes taught with that, which I'm sure that you're probably pushing for.
I'm trying, but
yeah,
I'm on the losing end of that, Joe. So,
well, I'm sure there's a lot of professors that are kind of adverse to trying different things, especially because I've had professors that aren't as technologically savvy, so they don't want to have to figure out how to use something new.
Right.
But yeah, overall, I think it's a very good interface. It's very easily navigatable by someone who maybe isn't as technologically savvy, so they can figure it out. It directs you in a path. The reading's all right there. It tells you what to go find. But I mean, overall, I've liked all this, the topics that we've discussed. It's all been interesting and relevant stuff to not just like someone who wants to learn more about content and media, but for me specifically, because I'm trying to work in the media field, learning that back end of things of, how we think about stuff, how things become popular. The big aha moment was probably this week's work, and I completed it yesterday because I had some time. And I wrote about this in the discussion that I don't know if anyone got this far, but we had to watch a video about someone who does makeup tutorials, and they've been doing it for a very, very long time. And I was just in shock how many subscribers she had, how many viewers she was getting. And
700 videos she's made since she was 5.
Yeah, exactly. And I kind of had like a negative breakdown of her stuff because, like, from a production standpoint, the audio quality is not very good. She's got a nice camera. She doesn't do anything complicated with her editing and her cuts, and she's able to just build a viewership. She's not like overly outgoing. She's not like this big personality like most vloggers and people like that. She just does her makeup tutorials. People listen in, and she's been successful at it. And I think that from me, who's a content creator, and I do a lot of audio content, I've always been afraid to work with video and use YouTube and stuff because I thought that it required so much work and all this time and using like After Effects and Premiere and editing and having the right camera, but you really don't need any of that. You just need to start small and work your way up.
Yeah. So really, thanks so much for sharing. I am absolutely fascinated, and part of the reason why we're doing this Leap 1 is because we don't know enough about the kind of ordinary creativity that is happening on YouTube, and that is like lowering the barriers to entry, like making it possible for people to express their unique creativity in like a lot of different ways. And so in some ways, part of the point of our Leap 1 is to try to wrap our heads around that and then begin to think about our own identities, right, as creative people. And so, so Joe, the fact that you are you are a content creator, you are thinking about your identity as a digital author, that's just icing on the cake from my point of view, because I feel like right now we're at a point in history where it's becoming more normative. People are kind of expected to have a digital presence and to be able to express themselves. Sarah's point was a really good one about how you gain a lot of confidence when you use the Flipgrid, and you have to create a kind of something that makes sense in 3 minutes, right? And you gain a lot of confidence in your ideas when you are forced to use these tools. So let's take, since we just have about another half hour left, I want to take time to dig down with you on this assignment called Leap 1. You can see, I guess, since you came late a little bit, I just wanted to kind of show you where I am here. I'll make the, I'll put the link into the chat room. Let me see if I can do that. Hold on just a sec. There's a little dot. If you scroll your cursor, I guess, down to the bottom, you can see there is a chat room there. And I just typed in the page for our Notion page. Now for Leap 1, we're going to be publishing on the Notion platform. And Notion is a really cool platform, but like anything, it's like a little bit wonky. And so we're going to dig down into what am I expecting you to do for Leap 1? How does it really work? But for this part of the tutorial, I'm really going to be teaching a little bit about how to manage creating content in Notion. And I'm using an incognito window, which means that I am not logged in. I'm experiencing Notion as you are, right? And I think you've already gotten this far. You went to syllabus and assignments, I know, and you looked at the syllabus, right? And you might have scrolled down to see we're doing 2 creative projects that are called leaps. We're taking 2 exams where you do some synthesis of what you're learning. And of course, we've got the class participation happening on the Pathwrite, happening on the Flipgrid, and even tonight happening on the Zoom, right? But I'm not logged in to Notion. And so when I go to, Leap 1 due March 6th, and I read about the assignment, I can't actually do what it says I should do. It says, do now. Be sure to sign up to indicate the name of the creative individual you will be examining. Remember, you're going to pick a YouTuber, a TikToker, an Instagrammer, and you're going to document and analyze the work of that individual and the choices they make and the creativity they display. But when you click on that, right, and the page opens, and you see, oh, these are Renee's favorite YouTubers. Oh, I love my favorite YouTubers. These are Renee's favorite Instagrammers. These are Renee's favorite TikTokers. And it says here, put your choice of digital author next to your name, right? Well, you try to do that and look what happens. You can't type anything because you're not logged into Notion. So you have to go up here to, can you guys see my cursor? I don't know if you can actually see my cursor. Can you see my cursor kind of moving around there up at the top?
Yeah.
You can. Yeah. So that is, I know it doesn't say login or anything. Damn. It doesn't say login or anything, but that's the login. Right? And I think you guys can now see that, right? Yeah. So you should be able, once you've gotten into Notion once, it just remembers you and you won't ever have to deal with it ever again. But that first time, it's wacky because it wants to create for you your own like private page. And you can see if you look on the left-hand side of my screen that I've got lots of different Notion pages. But the ones that are most relevant here are the COM 250 Digital and Media Literacy Project. Now you should be able to go to that page and put in the name of the person you want to think about. Let's talk a little bit about who you're thinking about. Look at that, you guys have all figured it out. Now, can you give me a reason why for your choice? Megan, why are you interested in Try Guys?
Because I've been following them for a really long time now. They have multiple different platforms. They recently started a podcast over the summer, and they've written a book. They've been on tour, and so I think I have a lot of different aspects to like kind of go over and look at.
Cool. And Tony, why are you interested in The Right Opinion?
He's only on YouTube. He hasn't even done like a face reveal, so nobody really knows what he looks like except the people who he's friends with. He does a lot of like documentary type photos, so like 43-minute long videos where he just discusses like a certain topic. Like I think his most recent video was on Onision and a drama surrounding him, and I just like watching other people's opinions, except he stays very neutral for the most part. He presents the facts as facts, and then he'll make it clear when he's putting his opinion, unlike some other commentary YouTubers I watch who are just like, this is what it is, and it's actually their opinion. So I think he's pretty neutral. And
you appreciate
I like him.
His balanced perspective.
Yes.
And
yes.
Joe, why have you chosen Chris Smooth as your guy?
So I mean, I haven't watched him in a while, but when I was younger, I used to watch a lot of his videos. He's a gaming YouTuber. He plays a lot of sports video games. I just always was really entertained by him, so I think it's fitting to do someone I'm familiar with.
Awesome. So there you go. So you guys have figured out how to add your name to the thing. Now I want to talk to you about how to make your page beautiful. And I guess I also probably want to talk about the assignment itself, right? Because you figured out that this idea of ordinary creativity involves you selecting a digital author whose work you're going to analyze, moving through a process of reviewing their work and critically analyzing their work, using the knowledge that you're gaining from this class, and particularly using those 5 critical questions of media literacy. Now, those 5 questions might not be enough, which is why I've invited you to click on the link to the namely critical questions. This is the National Association for Media Literacy, and they organize their critical questions a little differently into the categories of author and audience, message and meaning, representation and reality. And these concepts may be very powerful for you in analyzing things like the point of view, or the economics, or the context, or the credibility. So I welcome you to use whatever tools you can use to help you develop a great experience that will give us an aha. Now, the process of making this project involves building a screencast, and I'm kind of assuming you probably haven't done that before. So step 3 is you develop the ideas and you write out your, essentially your voice-over narration. Then you select images that accompany your narration, right? And you can use a mixture of still and moving images to rehearse and produce your screencast. Now, you can use any screencast tool you want, and there are a lot of them. And I personally think Screencast-O-Matic is the simplest and best way to go, and it's what I use to make the videos that I put at the beginning of the class every week, because it's simply a matter of starting the recorder, and it gives you a window that you can size. So if I want, I can build a set of PowerPoint slides, put my images. Ooh, that's weird. I'm getting like I'm getting a very strange picture here. But I can use a webcam. I can put myself in the little corner. Do you see how I'm in the little corner now? Or I don't even have to be on screen. I can just make the images do the heavy lifting. It's a one-click record and upload to YouTube. It's so simple. And it does allow a little bit of editing. So it turns out it's a very simple, powerful tool. It's best of all, it's free. But of course, you're free to use any tool you want. And I'm seeing I've got the screencast still operating here, which is kind of interesting, because notice that I can resize the screen. Can you guys see that on my screen now as I'm resizing the screen? See, so I can make this size of the screencast just a portion of the screen or the whole screen, right? And when I hit record, it's going to record everything that's inside that screen. So that's going to take some practice, right? And so making a practice one to get a feel for what it's like to create it, to upload it, that's really important. This is not the kind of activity that you can wait till the last minute to do. That's why you guys are on top of this by picking your screencaster, your subject already. You're uploading that completed project to your Notion page for Leap 1, and you're using design features to make that page attractive. And then you're also writing a little reflection on the creative process, because that's really where you're showing, kind of pulling back the curtain for me and explaining, like, how did this thing all come together? And then you're looking at somebody else's work and you're sharing with them some warm feedback. That means you're saying something nice on Twitter, right? Now, I'm evaluating it really to make sure that you've really dug in to the digital author that you're focusing on, and you've really been able to use the ideas in the class to help us understand this character, and that you're using those critical questions to evaluate and analyze the choices that your digital author is making. And you're trying to figure out what aspects of their work are most appreciated by their audiences. And that's leading you to generate new questions. In a way, the whole point of this activity is to deepen the quality of questions that you ask about this kind of ordinary creativity. So, but I'm expecting to see some evidence of your own creativity in these screencasts, and that you're applying ideas from what you're learning in this class, and that it should be well organized and professional, and you should use language well and imagery well, because you have a very short space. You can see that you're only going to be producing something like a 3-minute screencast, right? So make sure your word count up here does not exceed 450 words. Ouch. You might think, oh, that's great. God damn, Professor Hobbs letting us do a real easy thing. Actually, it's harder to do something short than it is to do something long. Students can make a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute podcast, no problem. That's easy. It's hard to make something concise. So that is actually the big challenge, to be concise, right? That's really kind of what this assignment is really measuring. And then if we go back down to that criteria for evaluation, you wrote an essay that describes your creative experience and you posted it on the Notion page. You've used sources, so of course you have a works cited list at the bottom that shows me what sources you use to gather information about your ordinary creative person. And you've tweeted a link to your own work, so you promoted your own work. Now you're probably saying, okay, that's cool, Renee, but now where do I post that thing? And how do I create it? And so you go back to the main page of the Notion page to here where it says completed student work. You click on Leap 1 Creative Projects, and it says, click on your name to open your blank page. Will you guys do that for me right now? So just to reconstruct that, back to the main page. Back to the, it's like I got a little pencil icon, completed student work. And then, oh, that's so cool. I can see you there. See how I can see the little M in a circle? Megan, that's awesome. Right. So there you are. So when you click, like I'm going to pretend to be Sam. Sam, I'm sorry, I'm pretending to be you right now, but here you go. I'm going to click to add I'm going to click on the name. Click on the name to open the block. Let's see. Oh, I know. It's actually a little bit more hard than that. You actually have to use this thing here. And you see how it pops up and it says turn into. You want to turn it into a page. And now see how the little page icon appears? And now when I click on Sam, I've got her blank page. Okay, Sarah, you have created a page. Look at that. Go, girl.
Woo!
That was fast. Joe, you have created a page, and I can see that because you've got the little page icon. Megan, absolutely brilliant. Okay, and Tony's got her page. Now, Tony, I'm gonna use you as the victim, right? Because this page is so boring, right? But for this assignment, it has to be designed. But what are the minimum elements? Well, let's talk about the first thing is that YouTube page. So you've got to put your YouTube video there. And let's just say I'm going to do this Barack Obama. I don't know what this is actually, but I am going to put in this YouTube. It's going to be your YouTube video. But see how I have a choice? I can dismiss, create bookmark, or create embed. When I create embed, oh, isn't that beautiful? Barack Obama's Intro to Deep Learning MIT course. It instantly gets embedded. And when I start typing, right? When I start typing here, it makes stuff, but I can use this plus button to make it anything. I can make it a numbered list. I can make it a quote. And then all of a sudden it's a, oh, not all capitals, that looks ugly. It's a quote, right? I can add an image. If I scroll down here, I can add a table, I can add an image, I can add a video, I can add a bookmark, I can add a link. And I've provided a little help page for you to see how flexible this tool is. It's a really super easy, flexible page. The thing that always screws people up is up here at the top, add the cover. Oh yes, there you are, my world traveler. That's great. So it puts you in as a little airline seat. I want to add a cover to make it beautiful. And Notion will suggest covers automatically. You can, of course, reposition them by dragging and clicking and showing different parts. Or you can change the cover. And you can do that by uploading an image of your own using the upload link, linking to an image that you find online, or using Unsplash and typing in something like pop culture or whatever you type in, and voila, choosing from among the copyright-free materials that are there, right? So it gives you a lot of freedom to make some really cool looking pages. And I'm just going to cancel out of that because like that's probably goofy and you don't like it, right? I don't want to mess with your page. So I just made it
I'll
plain.
fix it eventually.
You'll fix it eventually, right? Okay, so I think I've done all I can do in the 1 hour that I have with you to get you excited about the creative process of commenting on the kind of ordinary creativity that happens in real life. We only have 5 minutes, but I bet you have questions. What questions do you have?
I think most of my questions were answered.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I got it. Just have to actually do it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I do have one question. Are we choosing a single video of this person, or are we just like overall?
This is actually a creative choice on your part, and I've seen it done well both ways, right? Part of the problem is you've got this challenge of concision. You have 3 minutes and you have to try to say something that's not stupid and trivial, right? You have to try to say something that's profound. or something, the way I think of it as is something that lets another person go, aha, I never thought about that before. And that could be done by you're doing an overview of the person's whole work, or it could be done by, like, you know how they say, the wise man says, you can see the entire universe in a single drop of water. So sometimes you can use a very small piece to make the point, right? Other times you might need to use the larger thing. I think in some ways that's a bit of like what the creative challenge is. You've got to look at the whole thing, but then decide which part of the story to tell. So wrestle with it. But that's a good question. That's a good question because I bet everybody's going to have to wrestle in a similar way. What other questions do you have? Okay, that's really a great sign. It's really a great sign that you do not have too many difficulties. I think what's going to happen a little bit as it gets closer is that there'll be a little bit of co-learning, and we'll have chances for you to comment and share on where you're making progress and where you're struggling. But from my point of view, the fun thing about this is you have to use language. You have to use images. You're making something that has never been made before. None of the YouTubers or creative people that you're showcasing has had this kind of product made about their work. So you have like a lot of creative freedom, but you also have some creative constraint. And my experience is that plus deadline pressure, whew, we're going to see some cool stuff coming out. We're going to see some cool stuff. We're going to, in the end, have something really interesting to say about ordinary creativity. Each one of the students in this class is going to have something to say, and then we'll see some patterns emerge, right? So even though it might feel like you're doing a solo project, and you are, this is your solo project for your grade, it's also the case that we're kind of co-learning or discovering together what are the features of ordinary creativity when it comes to these digital tools. And here, your own experience as a creative person is part of the aha. So don't be afraid of that. Like, you're a creative person, you're going to have some ahas. So put your whole self into it, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. All right, so I'm going to let you go because it's 6 o'clock. If you have any questions, because you have been going, oh my God, you know the best way to reach me. I am always on Twitter, always. I'm always on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. Of course, you have my cell phone. Call me if you have any questions, and you can use that old-fashioned email too, all right? All right, have fun this week, you guys. I'll see you next week on the path right. Bye-bye.